The Voyage of the Three Brothers. Act 1. Fleeing the Past. Immortuos, Silence, and Zenkan stood on the deck of their ship, Jezebel, the salty sea wind, whipping their faces as they gazed back at the dwindling outline of their homeland. Their father, Reptar Marion, stood at the ship's helm, barking commands at the crew with his usual venom. Each brother carried his own weight of shame and anger, bound together by their father's cruelty and the persecutions that had driven them from their home. "We're fugitives now," Silence muttered, fingers gripping the railing. "We've been fugitives for years," Zenkan replied, his voice low. Immortuos, silent in thought, only clenched his fists. His mind raced with visions of power and vengeance, fueled by his growing mastery of necromancy. But none dared speak their thoughts openly. Reptar's sharp tongue and iron fists kept them walking on eggshells. That night, as the brothers huddled below deck, the ship plowed through dark waters under a moonless sky. It seemed their escape was assured, until the sea itself rose against them. Act 2. The Wrath of the Deep. The first sign of danger came as a sudden lurch of the ship. Then, a sailor's scream tore through the night. The brothers rushed above deck, finding chaos waiting for them. Thick, glistening tentacles had breached the surface, each one as wide as a tree trunk and strong enough to crush timber. The creature's immense bulk remained hidden beneath the dark waves. "Man your stations!" Reptar roared, grabbing a harpoon. "Kill it before it kills us!" The sailors fought valiantly, but the giant octopus was unstoppable. One tentacle swept the deck, sending men flying into the sea. Another crushed the mast, snapping it like a twig. Immortuos cast a necrotic spell that blackened one of the creature's limbs, but it only enraged the beast further. "Hold your ground!" Reptar shouted, his harpoon piercing the tentacle. For a moment it seemed the creature might retreat, but then a colossal limb surged forward, dragging Reptar overboard. "Father!" Silence yelled, reaching out. "No!" Zenkan grabbed his brother's arm, pulling him back. "He's gone!" Immortuos stared at the spot where their father had vanished, his face unreadable. The next moment, the octopus's tentacles shattered the ship's hull, sending debris and crew into the churning water. Act 3. New Beginnings. The three brothers clung to floating wreckage, battered by waves and fighting to keep their heads above water. Hours passed, the stormy sea relentless in its torment. When the sun finally rose, they found themselves washed ashore on a tropical beach, their clothes soaked and their bodies bruised. "Where are we?" Zenkan asked, coughing up seawater. Silence surveyed the unfamiliar land. Towering palm trees loomed overhead, their leaves rustling in a warm breeze. The cries of strange birds echoed in the distance, and the air was thick with the smell of salt and vegetation. Immortuos knelt in the sand, gripping a jagged piece of driftwood. His face was pale, his lips twisted into a grim smile. "Somewhere new," he said. "Somewhere we can start over. Without him." For the first time, the brothers felt the weight of their father's absence. His cruelty was gone, but so was his protection. As they gathered what little remained of their supplies, Silence looked out at the endless horizon. "He might still be out there," he said softly. Zenkan shook his head. "Even if he is, we're on our own now." The three brothers stood together, the ocean behind them and an unknown land ahead. Their journey had only just begun, but they knew one thing for certain. They would face it together, free from their father's shadow, though not without the scars he left behind.